Okay, in the third part of the video, we're going to take a look at the first verse. And there's going to be some more involvement in the melody and more chords. One new chord only, repeating the old ones a lot. Okay, so we're going to start out with an E minor, the top three strings, or I could say the lowest sounding three strings. And then after you do that, we're going to start the melody with the open third string, open G, two of those, and then a third finger on the second fret to make an A. And then we're going to brush another E minor with an open B on top, open second string that is. Then we're going to do a very quick grace note. It's an open G and your finger slams down to A right away. Don't pick it twice. It should sound like two quick notes together, almost like one. And then we're going to sneak our first finger up to the sixth string, second fret. Middle finger, second finger lifts out of the way. Third finger is still where it was when it landed on A. And we brush those three strings with our thumb. Then we just lift it off to an open G and then kind of lift our first finger as well because we're going to want to land on a G chord. Okay, just brushing the low sounding three strings with your thumb. Okay, so here's chunk number one played all together. 4 and. Okay, it was a big, big world. That's the part you're hearing. Okay, next chunk. Chunk number two, it kind of starts on that G actually that we just landed on. Then we have two open Gs, open third strings, an A on the second fret, open second B string while we play the G chord at the exact same time. So those go together. And then third fret D, and then second fret A, that's on the third string, and then open third string. Okay, so chunk number two, we start out with that G chord. Here we go. 2 and 3. Alright, so at the very end of that, we're going to be lifting our fingers on the very last note when we play that last open third string. I forgot to mention that, sorry. Okay, we lift our first finger and our third finger. Just let them hover up so they can start moving towards C. Because guess what? C is our next chord. We're just going to play two strings, the fifth and the fourth. We're going to brush that with our trusty old thumb here. And then we're going to have a little quick triplet. So we're going to use, this is important, A, I, M. Okay, because those three fingers will skip faster than other fingers. And then, I totally said that wrong. A, M, I is what I meant to say. And followed by an A finger on the next finger. So we just had our C chord with two notes. Then we're going to go on the open third string, and then the third note, you put your second finger down on the second fret. And then the next one is going to be a little ghost note hammering on from the second fret to the third fret while we play a C with our thumb. Okay, so I hammered down quick, almost sounded like one note, but it was two. Second finger on A, open the third, back to A on the second fret. A C chord with an open second string is kind of where we end and start the next part. So to put chunk number three all together, will sound like this. 4 and. Okay, we end there. Did you use A-M-I for your triplet and then follow it up with a A for the little hammer on? I hope you did, because that's going to help you get through that easier. That'll make it a lot easier for you once you get it up to speed. Okay, chunk number 4. So we already started the first note of chunk number 4, which was the C with the B on top, the open second string. Alright, then we have an A, the second finger, third string, open G on the third string, back to an A on the second fret. And here's the tricky part. We're going to be playing open D. We're also going to be playing an A at the same time, but it ghost notes up to the 4th fret. Okay, sounds like two notes. It was one. I played it and slid it quickly. I didn't pick it twice. Okay, I'm going to repeat that one more time. Okay, and then we're going to keep that finger where it is. Don't move it. You're going to move it, aren't you? Don't move it. First finger goes on the third string, second fret, or sorry, second string, third fret, just like I'm doing here, that wobbly one. And then we have that second finger that we didn't lift up, we left it down. And it's going to be a quick ghost note, a ghost slide back down to the second fret. And then we're going to end off with the open third string, open G. Okay, so here's chunk number 4, all together starting from that C shape. 2 and 1. Okay, I just gave it away. We're starting the new section, the second half of the verse on E minor. But before we do that, let's do a recap. That was the whole first half of the verse. It was 2 bars long. Lots going on there, so let's take our time. Before you try to do this, make sure you have all the chunks down individually. And if you don't, this isn't, well, this might help you, but probably not. So go back and practice it if you need to. Here we go. 4 and Okay, so there it is. That's the whole first half. The second half, I know we're only halfway. The second half will be easier. But don't try to do it yet until you get that first half down. Make sure you do lots of pausing and rewinding to get those parts all together. Okay, so here we go. You're ready for the second half. Now it's time to do it. It starts off with an E minor. Then after that E minor, our melody starts on open G, second fret A with our third finger. We kind of have to crunch them all in there. Then we have that little ghost hammer onto the fourth, with our fourth finger, our pinky finger, to the third fret of the third string. So we're third fingers on there. We did one of these already in chunk number 3 in the first half. So, but this time it's going to get strummed with an E minor. Okay, and then we're here. Then we have back to the second fret. Then when we do that, we want to start to drift our first finger over because we need that next chord, which is a D/F sharp. That's the name of the chord. But this time we're going to play it. We're also going to lift our third finger. So the only one on the guitar right now is your first finger, 6th string, 2nd fret. We're going to play with that chord. We're going to brush 3 strings, and then our A finger is going to play the open G string, the open third string. Okay, and then our second goes down on A, on the 2nd fret. Okay, and then we're just out into the next chunk. We probably would have also lifted our first finger while we played that 2nd fret A to get ready for a G with a B on top, 2nd string on top. Okay, so here's the first chunk of the second half, or chunk number 5. So I'll just call it first chunk, second half. So here we go. 4 and Okay, that's where we ended up. Here we go, second half, chunk number 2. This one's a little easier. So we're on the G chord. We started it with G and playing open 2nd string. We're going to follow that with A on the 3rd string, open G, back to A, another G strum with the open 2nd string on top, lots of those, and then 3rd fret with your 4th finger of the 2nd string, that's a high D, back to A with your middle finger, that's on the 2nd fret, and then open G with lifting your fingers. When you play that open G, lift your fingers. You're not going to do that, but try to remember to, because it helps you get to C, which is our next chord. Okay, so here is chunk number 2 of the second half. This one's probably an easier one, starting on the G with the open B. 2 and lift. Okay, so when you lift that A off, the other chord, the chord holding fingers lift off to the bass notes. Alright, so that was the first bar of the second half. Now we are on to the second bar of the second half, and this is literally our 3rd quarter. There's kind of some new stuff in here, but already things you've seen before, so we'll get through it quick. Starting on a C chord with just 2 strings, and then, not at the same time, but after that, open 3rd string to 2nd fret A, and then we're going to do a C with that little 4th finger hammer down on the 3rd fret of the 3rd string, like this. So it's a ghost note, quick hammer where we don't play it twice. Almost sounds like it happens at the same time. After that, we have a second finger A, an open G, back to A. Then we have a C with the open second string, and then we have A on the third string, second fret, open third string, back to the second fret, and then that exact same thing we did with our D chord before. I'll explain it again in case you need a refresher. Open D while playing third string second fret A at the same time. That A is going to slide up to the fourth fret very quickly to a note called B. That second finger stays where it is, don't move it. First finger goes on the second string, third fret, and then hopefully you didn't move that middle finger because we're going back to it now, but it's going to be a grace note, so it's going to happen super fast as it slides down to the second fret, and then we go to the open third string to end that section. Okay, that was a lot of work in that section. That last chunk, I kind of put two chunks together because it was very familiar material. Alright, so here is the whole second half, and then we're going to do the whole verse. Right, here it is. 4 and 1. Lift. Okay, and then we're into the next chorus. Okay, here is a whole recap of verse number 1, right from the start to the end, so pretty much a recap of this whole video. All 12 minutes of it. Here we go. 4 and... to the next part. Okay, awesome. So hopefully you've taken your time to that and paused and got all your parts down, and then you're going to be ready for the next section. So that was probably the hardest part of one of the hardest parts of the song because we had a lot of new things going on. And this next section won't be as bad, so check that out when you're ready.